Hey guys, we're going to mix it up a little bit today. I'm going to show you how to take an image and turn it into a animated 3D image movie. So you'll have to excuse the yelling. I was actually teaching a class while I was doing this. And also, this is just part one that we're going to do inside Photoshop. We're going to take this image, we're going to dissect it up into Photoshop, and we're going to turn it into this movie right here. Now, where do you go find an image? I'm going to give you guys a couple ideas as far as where to find an image. Okay, so the first one could be Unsplash.com. And when you look for an image, I want you to look for something that you could actually find depth with. Okay, and when you guys do this, I want you to try and think of how you can take a picture apart into 3 different layers. So someone go ahead and just give me an idea of what kind of picture could I search for? A hamburger? Someone eating a hamburger? Okay, let's see what happens. But this is one. It's called Unsplash. Everything. It's a community of photographers that they just upload their images and allow you to use copyright free. So you can use it as much as you want. And then you have the option of mentioning the artist on where you use it. Okay, so eating hamburger. So looking through here, let's see what could we get something with depth on it. Okay. Alright, let's try something else. And then you can always just go to Google and find something here. Remember at the beginning of the year, we actually searched in Google and we did free, you can filter it through free images. You guys remember that? Okay, well let me just show you right now. Let's just do the hamburger again. Okay, so once you Google hamburger, you got to go over here to images. And now you're going to say, okay, I have all these images, but if I go to tools, you go to usage rights, there's no filter. How do you know if you can use that copyright free? You don't really know that. So what I do is I like to go label for reuse with modification. So you can actually take it and modify it or do whatever. Okay, so there's something like this. Now, if I click on one of these images, okay, you got to make sure that it's full scale. We want to do 1280 by 720, right? That's just kind of what we're working on in this class. It's not 4K, it's not full quality, but for this assignment, that's all we want is 1280 by 720. So we can do large and we can shrink it down, or we can actually go in here and do exactly 1280 by 720. Okay, now you see all of our images here. We know they're 1280 by 720. Boom, that's all I need to know. Okay, do you see any images here that might work? I'm not really seeing anything. Does anyone have any other idea that we could search for? Dogs. It likes this a lot better. Okay, so 1280 by 720 labeled for reuse with modification. Let's see which image could give us some depth with like 3 different layers. Now, things you got to worry about is with this depth, we're going to be using the cloning features. So if it's a really detailed background, it may be a little more difficult. So there's a couple things to think about when we're choosing our image, which will make more sense after I do this. Okay? For the purpose of this assignment, let's just go, let's see, grab this image right here. No, I don't like that because it's blurry. How about something like this? Let's take this. I'm going to see what I can do with this, okay? So, when you go to save this, you want the full 1280 by 720. If you right-click here, save image as, it may not be the full resolution image. So, what you got to do is click on it and actually go to the image where it's parked. So then I can go save image as. It's going to go desktop. You guys are going to have a new creative folder, and then you're going to have 3D photo folder. Okay, so you can just go 3D photo. Got it? So I've already got one. So I'm going to just delete that one. I'm just going to go in here and save it. Walking the dogs, okay? Now that I have my image, okay, I'm going to go into Photoshop. So I'm going to just close out of this one, because that was the one I worked before. We can go New, and we want to do 1280 by 720. Is this the correct one? Pixels, not inches, right? Pixels. And then create. Now, Control minus, Control plus, we can get our document exactly where we want it. Okay? Now, File, Open. Let's go Desktop. Let's go in and find our image, and we're going to open it. Now, we want to drag this off to the side, and we want to click and drag this into our 1280 by 720 canvas. Okay? Now, that image, we may have to blow this up because it looked like it should have been 1280 by 720. Okay? Click Enter, and then there is our image. Now we can start dissecting it. Okay? First thing we want to do is let's get rid of that background. We do not want it. The next tool we're going to use is this thing here called Magnetic Lasso Tool. Magnetic Lasso Tool. So we could get quite a few layers out of here. We could really get 1, 2, 3, 4, and then our background layer. So that could actually be 5 layers. Okay? So for this, I'm actually just going to I'm going to lasso out 1 and 2. Just get 2 layers out of here, and then the background layer has 3 total layers. So right here, I'm going to right away double click on that, and we're going to just call this background. Okay? Now I'm going to Control plus, go in here, and I'm going to take my magnetic, click, drag all the way around. If I screw up, I'm like, oh crap. I can go backspace, and it will go back to my previous marker. Okay? So I'm just going to do this, drag this up, back. I can go Control plus, and I can get even more detailed in here. Does that make sense, people? It makes sense to one person? That same person. Yes, I said So let's just keep going down. Let's keep going down. Let's go Control minus, zoom back out a little bit. Whoa, hello. Go back out a little bit more. Go back out a little bit more. Backspace, backspace, backspace. So far, so good. Zoom in, Control plus. Okay, how do you know when it's done selecting? You get the marching ants. Now, I want to completely cut this out. So I'm going to go back here to, okay, you can see right here, I'm going to go back to my move tool, and I'm going to go edit, cut. I want it completely wiped out. To edit, paste, special, paste in place. Boom. Now you can see here, let me zoom out a little. See now, when I hide that layer, it's missing in my background. If I hide my background, you can see it's isolated. Does that make sense, people? Now I'm going to go back to Magnetic Lasso Tool. Guys, if you click on H, it's the hand tool. Do you see how the hand tool is there? So once I zoom in, I can do the hand tool and I can move it around. Okay, so now let's edit this one out. There it is. It's cleared out. Edit, cut, edit, paste special into place. Now let's zoom back out, and what do we have here? Click on H to move your canvas back into where you want it to. Okay, V will go back to your move tool. Okay, so now I have boom, boom, boom. You could see my layers here. Does that make sense? Now I'm going to show you something real quick. Why is it and why it will be important that we have to clone this out? And I'm going to show you why. So I'm going to go ahead and file save as, and I'm going to label this as 3D photo without clone. Okay? So I'm going to save it. Now I'm going to go into my After Effects. I'm just going to show you real quick again why it's important to clone that. I'm going to take my position and I'm going to move these. Do you see what is happening here? Why I need to clone this area. Does that make sense, people? I'm going to hide both of my individual layers. Okay? And we're going to just try to finish up the Photoshop part of this. I'll stop it and then we can go into the After Effects later. Okay, now that I have my layers in place, you can see I have my 3 layers here. Now we do have to figure out how we're going to get this cloned in. So there's a couple ways to do this. The shortest way, the easiest way, I'm going to show you right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to relabel these right now. So this one would be the man. This one would then be the woman. And what I'm going to do is click on this lower or the original layer, and I'm going to hold down Control on my PC, and I'm going to click on the first layer. It's going to select it. I'm then going to click on Shift and Backspace. That is going to bring up this box here. You've got to make sure that you're on Content Aware. You can leave the rest of this the same, and then you're going to click OK. You can see here that it actually takes the fill of the woman shape and just blends it into the background. So with that, I'm going to Control D to deselect that, and now I can go over here to my clone stamp tool, and I can use the brackets left and right to kind of zoom in my brush. But I'm going to hold down on the Alt to select my target, and then I'm going to just slowly blend this in and just clone this. And if you do not click on the Alt, it will tell you by giving you an error saying you need to click Alt to get to select your target. So you can take your time, just make sure you're taking your time to clone this out. And there you go. So let's go ahead and do the other one real quick. The same thing. We can get the unhide the woman layer, so she's there, we know it's done. So again, I'm going to click on the original layer, Control, and now click on the man layer. That's selected. Shift Backspace, click OK, Control D deselects it, and we do the same thing. We need to make sure we are on the original layer that we are cloning. So again, I'm just going to go nice and easy through here, and you can see the crosshairs there. I know where I am copying on the image. So almost done. And there you go. So now you have your images and your layer, your image with your layers. So now when you bring it into After Effects, you can see that you will not have those black blank spots. So the next way is going to be where you can just clone in without doing the Shift Backspace. You can just clone in those areas using the Clone Stamp tool. So if you think about it, the PSD allows to retain the layers. So if we are going to put this into After Effects, we need to retain those layers so we can modify those layers. Okay, File. Save as. I think I already saved it. So 3D photo without clone. I'm going to go File, Save as, 3D photo with clone. This is the one I'm going to use. Sound good? And we are going to go ahead and save desktop into my 3D photo with clone. How many 3D photos do I have? Okay. Now, again, it is important 2, create a folder before you even start. You need to put all of your images, all of your projects into that 3D photo folder and do not touch them. Because if you move them or put the folder or the projects or the pictures in that folder after you've already started the project, when you open up the project the next day, those folders will, or those files will be missing. Does that make sense? So put all of your pictures, all of your files in one folder for this project and do not touch them.